Hello, and welcome to the Thrive Mindset Podcast. I am so glad you are here with me. My name is Carrie Dahle, and I am your host. I am an entrepreneur, author, podcaster, manifester, and motivator. And I am on a mission to empower you to create the life of your dreams. If you are looking to up-level your life, relationships, finances, productivity, and success, you have come to the right place. I will share with you tools, resources, strategies, my failures, and my successes that have all helped me achieve the life of my dreams. It is my goal with this podcast to help you see your potential and empower you to create the life of your dreams. So let's get to it. Hey everyone, welcome back to the Thrive Mindset Podcast. I'm Carrie. You know me as your go-to girl for all things mindset, manifestation, and really making magic happen even when life feels, well, less than sparkly. Today's episode is a little bit of a love note from me to you. No guess, no fluff, just some real talk about something that I think we all need to hear more often. And you know what? It's been a minute since I've done the podcast by myself, and it's really funny. A lot of times I think that you guys only want to hear from guests, and then I'll hear from people and they'll say, I actually really like the ones by yourself. So I still like to mix it up. I still love all of my amazing guests because they are incredible people. But today, it's just going to be you and me. And like I said, I just want to talk about something I think we all need to hear more often, and that's you're not behind. You're just becoming, right? You're just becoming the new version of you. And yes, even if it feels like everyone else is out there thriving on social media or in photos or in businesses around your town, and you feel like you're the one over here in leggings trying to remember what day it is, remember, you're really not behind. You might just need to change your mindset a little bit. Let's talk about what it means to show up when you don't feel ready and why changing directions doesn't mean you failed, and how to stop believing that lie that your timeline is supposed to look like someone else's highlight reel, because it's not. Okay, so let's start first with that big old lie, that one that's floating around out there, and that is this idea that you're somehow behind, that you are not keeping up with others, that you are not exactly where you should be. Because really, behind what? Behind who? What are you behind? Think about that for a moment. Seriously, think about it, and if you were to stop comparing yourself to other podcasters, other writers, other entrepreneurs, who are you behind? And who handed out those gold stars and timelines and decided that by 30, you're supposed to have some 6-figure business, a perfect relationship, a glowing skin routine, and inner peace? Who said that? Well, probably a lot of social media does. But the reality of it is, and this may be a big spoiler alert for some of you, nobody actually did. That timeline does not exist. It is 100% made up. And yet, why is it so many of us are walking around feeling low key or high key, like we're late to our own lives? What is that about? Why do we let the comparison to other people control so much of our lives? Because here's the truth. You're not late. You're right on time for your own unique, beautiful process. It's no one else's timeline. It is simply yours. And you know what? That stuff, those things, those tasks that are taking you a little bit longer than you thought, that's just your foundation being built deeper and stronger and bigger. It's not that it's taking too long. It is really exactly what you are needing. Or maybe that detour that you didn't see coming, did you ever consider that might be the road that leads you exactly where you're meant to go? But on that path, you're going to get a little bit more grit, a little bit more wisdom, and more soul. Think about it. think about where you are on your journey right now. And if it's not where you expected to be, why? Why is that? Are you going a different direction that's making you stronger, better, teaching you something else that you didn't think you needed? Or are you still on that path and it's just taking you a moment longer? Because either way, it's a beautiful thing. But sit back and reflect and think about that for yourselves. Now, the one thing I will say that you may not want to hear is that you still have to show up. You have to show up when you don't feel ready. So if you are manifesting something so big and you're not even present in it, it's not going to happen, right? You've got to get your head right. You've got to learn about the art of showing up, because here's the deal. Waiting until you feel ready is one of the fastest ways that you will stay stuck and not move forward. So sure, your timeline is whatever your timeline is, but you have to be there and you have to be present in it. There have been so many moments in my own life and businesses where I've had no clue what I was doing, but I showed up, and I'd show up with messy notes and shaking hands and fear, seriously whispering in my ear, but I did it anyway. And you don't have to have it all figured out before you take that first step. You just need enough belief to move forward. You know, I've been watching in my real estate business, our oldest son really become very good in his own way, right? Very good. And I also watch him fearful. I watch him afraid to disappoint me. I watch him afraid to mess up a transaction. I watch him afraid that maybe he said the wrong thing in the wrong moment, but he's doing fantastic. And with each moment, he's learning more and more about this job and himself. And if he wasn't trying, he wouldn't be going anywhere. And it's the same thing with my dreams, right? I mean, obviously, real estate is a big part of that. But I think back to, a year and a half ago when I wrote that first chapter of that book, and how terrified I was to go to this retreat in New York with other authors, people that had written things already. And I was terrified, number one, to be there. I felt like I didn't belong, that I felt like I had this imposter syndrome, right? But I showed up. And as scared as I was, and as introverted as I became that week, and how I didn't really share myself or share my talents or share the things, what I did do is I took that first step towards moving towards that dream. And I didn't have it figured out, right? I didn't know how the best way was to write a chapter. I didn't know that I could do what I did. And then I've done it a couple times since. And really, if I can say one thing to you, you don't need to have it all figured out before you take that first step. You just need enough belief to move forward. And honestly, momentum creates confidence, not the other way around. Let me say that again. Momentum creates confidence, not the other way around. Confidence does not create momentum. You are only going to get that momentum by doing the thing and realizing that, I can do this. Exactly how it was for me with writing, and exactly how it is for my son with real estate. And I know it's exactly with everything else and every other goal I've ever achieved. And it's for you, it will be the same as well. Because with each thing that I've done to move forward, I've gotten stronger and more confident in that skill. And then I've flourished more. So don't be so scared. Just take the step. And if you're sitting on a dream and you're waiting for some magical moment where you're brave, polished, and 100% clear, I love you all enough to say, stop waiting. Start before you're ready. Start because you're not ready. That's where the growth lies. And then I want you to remember that it's okay to change your mind, right? You have permission to pivot. Changing your mind doesn't mean you're flaky. It means you're growing. So what do I mean? I mean, just because you've set out in one direction If the path took you down a different way and you found something there that you loved, and maybe you loved it more than you ever anticipated, well, why would you fight that? Why would you say no to that? Unfortunately, I think many of us think that we live in this world that says once you pick a path, you're supposed to stick to it forever, or else you're inconsistent or wishy-washy or flaky. But here's what I believe. I believe that pivoting or changing direction isn't quitting. It's alignment. It's alignment with who you truly are, because we don't know what we don't know until we get there. We don't always know what we like. We don't always know what we want. We don't always know everything. Remember what I said? There is no timeline that by 30 you have to have all these things done. And I know that many of you listening are older than that and are still sitting here going, I don't know. And that's okay too, because we are all allowed to evolve. You're allowed to outgrow things that once made you excited. You're allowed to close a door you once begged to be open. And you're allowed to chase something that makes your soul light up, even if it looks different than it did just 6 months ago. In fact, one of the greatest gifts you can give yourself is the permission to change your mind. Because when you shift directions out of integrity and inner clarity, not fear or pressure, that is powerful. So if you're sitting with your dream that feels old or plan that doesn't light you up anymore, guess what? You can change directions. You are the CEO of your life. You don't need anyone else's permission. You just need to decide what it is you want and go for it. Even if that changes day after day for a while, you can do that too. So let me just say one more thing for the people in the back. For the people who are so down on themselves, who think they're not succeeding, who think they're making mistakes, who don't know what they want, who are in the middle of a dream or a middle of manifesting things and they feel stuck. For anyone that just feels, I can't describe it any other way, just not where you're supposed to be, I guess. You're not behind. You don't have to feel ready to start, and you can change your mind and still be wildly successful. Life is not a straight line. It's a spiral. It's a zigzag. It's all over the place. And every time you circle back or cross that line or zigzag this way or zigzag that way, you're doing it with more experience, more wisdom, and more clarity. So today, I want you to ask yourself, what have I been waiting to do because I don't feel ready? Where am I comparing myself and forgetting my own magic? And is there something in my life or business that I've outgrown but haven't given myself permission to let go of? Think about those things. Write them down, say it out loud, and most of all, burn that stupid rule book that you never agreed to in the first place. And then go take one brave, imperfect step forward. Because you're not behind, my friend. You're in motion, you're evolving, and you're becoming. And that is everything. I hope that this quick little episode just gave you a little clarity, maybe put a little fire in you, or just reminded you to breathe. You know what to do. You just need to take the steps forward. And if this happened to light you up a little bit, please share it with a friend or tag me or let me know, and let's just keep all this momentum going for each one of us. And until next time, remember that I believe in you and you can manifest the life of your dreams.